Good morning, everyone, and welcome to North Orange County's State of North Orange County, the virtual edition. I'm Teresa Harvey, President and CEO of North Orange County Chamber of Commerce, and we're really glad to have you all join us. We've endured a difficult year as COVID-19 has impacted the business community, society, and government. Today, more than ever, there's nothing more constant than change. North Orange County Chamber remains a convener of leaders, a champion for business, and a catalyst for a healthy community. I'm glad to have so many of you on the call today as we gather to hear from people representing our local government and those who will lead us in the future. As you have questions for our presenters today, I encourage you to put them in the Q&A so we can address them all at the end of the program. I'd like to particularly thank our presenting sponsors this morning who make this program possible, including SoCal Gas and SoCal Edison. To kick off this morning's program, it's my pleasure to introduce Jessica Fernandez, Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. Jessica is an experienced professional focusing on the areas of organizational structure and strategy with a background in the private sector, public sector, and nonprofits. She has expertise in public policy, advocacy, coalition building, lobbying, and public affairs. Welcome. And as we introduce Jessica, thank you to SoCal Edison for your support.
Thank you for that, Teresa, and good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here with all of you today. As our video illustrated, we're all working together for a brighter and stronger future. And I know that a lot of the folks that are helping with that are who we have in the panel today. So very excited to hear from our friends in the cities of North Orange County. And I'll start by introducing our first guest speaker, Supervisor Katrina Foley. A little bit about Katrina, our supervisor. She was first elected this year in a special election in March, and she represents residents in North Orange County in the cities of La Palma, Stanton, and portions of Buena Park. Supervisor Foley is a successful businesswoman, community leader, and attorney. She actually became the city of Costa Mesa's first directly elected mayor in 2018, and then again in 2020. She also served on their council for 14 years. She's currently on the board of OCTA, and she served on other local and regional agencies like Costa Mesa and Transportation Corridor Agency, liaison to Newport Mesa Arts Commission, apologies, and the Cultural Arts Committee, the Bike and Walkability Committee, Pension and Finance Advisory and Special Districts Committee, and finally the Orange County Fair that we all enjoy in the summer. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Supervisor Katrina Foley.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's great to be here. Great to get to know all of you and meet you. Supporting our local businesses is a top priority for District 2. Since we got here, we've been right to work out in the community, making sure that we understand the needs of the community. And one of my top priorities is workforce development and helping our employers get employees back to work. So we are starting a job fair program. It's virtual for the time being. It'll be June 23rd. And this is a great opportunity for all of you here to join in and get employees to be able to interview virtually, having more access to more potential employees. I've been speaking with the restaurant industry a lot this week, and they're really struggling to find employees. So we're trying to help. We also have this amazing veterans program that is intended to allow employers to hire veterans. Veteran needs is a top priority for me. My brother is a veteran. I care deeply about our veterans here in Orange County, and we can help employers offset some costs paying for the wages of veterans. So if you want to learn more about that program, please contact us. We're also busy getting everyone vaccinated. If you've not been vaccinated yet, please join the millions of Orange County residents that have been vaccinated so far here. The Orange County Fair is still open every single day. We also have an update on what's happening in District 2. We have about 51% of the residents in District 2, encompassing all the cities that have been vaccinated. And the Orange County Fairgrounds, which opened the week that I got sworn in, we've now vaccinated about 126,000 residents there. And you can see from this chart where the breakdown is in terms of age. Majority of the residents vaccinated are over 65, which is a good thing because they're the most vulnerable, but we still have more work to do. We're in the yellow tier, and that's great for business. We want to make sure everyone's healthy and stays that way. So we have a couple of clinics that we've been working on throughout the community: Cypress, Seal Beach, Stanton. The clinics in Cypress and Seal Beach and Stanton and Los Alamitos, even though they were the first dose and these next dates are the second dose, we're still taking walk-ups. So if you know people who live in those areas and want to get vaccinated, they can walk up and they can get vaccinated. Our goal is to get more shots in arms so that we can have more herd immunity by June 15th when the state opens up, and especially by Independence Day, so we can all be independent of COVID. The vaccine is safe, it's effective, even though it seems like it's been a short period of time of study. Because it was a worldwide pandemic, there's been thousands and thousands of test subjects and very little harm resulting from this vaccine, usually because of underlying health conditions. So encourage you to get the vaccine so we can all get back to living our best lives. These are our committee appointees. We've tried to have a variety of appointees from across the district. If you're interested in a committee or have an interest in partnering with us on community projects, please contact our office. These are some of my assignments as a board representative. I have all these commissions that I sit on. If you have an interest in any of these commissions, please do reach out and share your ideas. We're a busy office here and we love to engage with the community. But you can reach us at Supervisor Foley on all the social media handles, as well as Avery will put in the chat our office phone number. We're here to help and serve. Wanted to give a shout out to La Palma, and great to get to know you and work with you. I'm so excited that our letter to Congresswoman Sanchez resulted in funding for your median streetscape. We are here to do that. Also, shout out to City of Stanton, who's in our district. We had a great tour of the great work that Stanton is doing for housing and conversion of motels. Shout out to Buena Park, also in our district. We were there to visit the library and the one-stop job center, the mobile unit that comes out and helps employees get jobs and connect with employers. So you're doing a great job there. And thank you all for including us. We're here to serve, and we would love to partner with you in our upcoming job fairs so that we can get more employers, more employees faster, so we can all get back to, back to normal, right?
Great. Thank you, Supervisor Foley. Welcome aboard. Certainly, North Orange County is fortunate to be represented by 2 supervisory districts. So I feel we're doubly fortunate in that fashion, but we look forward to working with you and continued interaction with your office. So thank you so much for participating today and sharing all the things that your district is doing to help us recover from the COVID pandemic.
Yes, and if you'd like to get more information, go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. All of the cities in our district are sending us content to include, so we help amplify it. We'd love to work with your chamber and help amplify your programs and opportunities as well.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Well, our second sponsor today is well known throughout our region. Emily Grant has been serving on our board of directors as the past chair of the chamber board. As senior public affairs manager for SoCal Gas, she's provided leadership and guidance to many organizations throughout Orange and LA County. She supports 11 cities in the North and West Orange County and is responsible for coordinating community partnerships with cities and leaders throughout the region. Thank you, Emily and SoCal Gas, for your continued sponsorship. And here's a brief message from the gas company.
So much, Teresa, for that lovely introduction. Good morning. My name is Emily Grant, Senior Public Affairs Manager with SoCal Gas, and I have the pleasure of kicking off the introductions for our other four honored guests today, our city managers in North Orange County. And we're going to start with Steve Danley, who is the acting city manager in the city of Fullerton. And Steve, I have your bio here in front of me that tells me that you are president and CEO of SD Consulting. But you had 33 years with the County of Orange, that you're a UCI graduate, so you were clearly an Orange County guy. But I'm going to leave it to you to give us a little bit more about your background and who Steve Danley is, and we'll go from there. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm an Orange County guy. I grew up in Anaheim and have slowly moved south to Orange and the Lake Forest and now San Clemente. I started as a management intern at the County of Orange in 1982 and kind of worked my way up and almost had, I think, almost every job they have to offer. The last two that I had was performance audit director working for the Board of Supervisors. And then the last job before I retired from the county was the Chief Human Resources Officer. So I've got that, and then I've opened up my own consulting company, and I do a lot of different project-based things and also sit in as an interim for that. And then I'm active in the community. I did 30 years of college and high school basketball refereeing, where city managers is quite similar. You get a lot of people telling you exactly the way they feel. So, and then I've taught off and on at UCI every once in a while, business and government class. So a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of things. Favorite job that I ever had, I ran a county landfill for 2.5 years. That was the favorite job I ever had.
That's great. Well, you'll know that for SoCal Gas with natural gas, we are obviously big fans and very, very active in the landfill business. Well, we're so excited to have you here in Fullerton and in North Orange County. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on at the city, or especially with reopening, or kind of what the future's looking like for Fullerton?
The biggest challenge for us is the budget. We've got a structural deficit. So we need to look for revenue enhancements, ways to cut, and also with I'm assuming most cities got their ARPA first allocation yesterday, and we have to figure out how we're going to plug that in and how we're going to use that. We also have an issue in the city of street maintenance and repair. We're hitting that pretty hard, but there's still a lot more to do, and it's a big issue with the city, so we're working hard on that. Another thing is employee recruitment and retention. We've cut services, we've got fewer people, so we've got to find ways in this difficult time with money situations to keep people. So we're working through that. And then IT is another issue where we have a lot of old, outdated IT systems in the city that we've got to bring up to speed and move forward on. And of course, we're working like with everyone else on the homeless situation. We have our North County spa that we're working through, and in the midst of all that, public safety, maintaining, the streets and taking care of the residents. So it's a full plate here. I assure you, I've been here all of 3 weeks, and my head's still on. So
Well, thank you for being here. You're a brave guy, and certainly 3 weeks in, trial by fire.
I've been called other things too.
We appreciate you joining us today, especially just being with so much going on and being new to Fullerton and new to the role. But thank you for stepping in, because certainly strong leadership is never a bad thing, and you clearly have it. So thank you so much. Sure. Jeff, I'll kick it to you.
Thanks, Emily, and thanks again, Steve. Welcome. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Buena Park's City Manager, Aaron France. So a little bit about Aaron France. He is new to the role of City Manager starting in March of this year, but he's not new to Buena Park. He's been there for over 16 years in various roles, and has been a key player in the city's economic development, purchasing, and the city's marketing and social media efforts. Buena Park is under great leadership with Aaron France, and now I invite him to share a little bit more about what's going on in Buena Park. Aaron?
Well, thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that introduction. I want to say thanks to the Chamber for hosting this event today. It's a pleasure to be here. So generally, we're facing a lot of the things Steve had mentioned over in Fullerton. We had to close facilities during the COVID situation. All of our parks were closed down. We're a tourism city, so we were hit pretty hard in that regard. Obviously, Knott's is a big part of what we do over here in Buena Park, and kind of the ancillary arms of Knott's Berry Farm, whether that's the hotels or the restaurants, are also affected by the closure of Knott's. So it definitely had an impact on our city revenues. We're still kind of reeling from that. Luckily, we had a rainy day fund and some other pots of money. We were able to kind of plug the boat. In terms of our financial position here, we had about a $5 million gap this fiscal year. The end of 1920, we had a gap. We're expecting a deficit for the next fiscal year until the economy gets kind of back on its feet. We put a lot of kind of expenditure control measures in place, whether that was freezing positions, or we asked some of our labor groups to actually postpone some of their contractual arrangements. We're looking for a full recovery and hopeful with that. Obviously, as Steve mentioned, we also received the federal stimulus money yesterday, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So yeah, the federal stimulus money is coming in 2 waves, one this May and then another in May of next year. So we received about 9.8 million yesterday. And obviously, being a TOT dependent city, or one that depends on that bed tax, that was about $5 million of our loss this last year as a result of, again, the pandemic and Knott's being closed. We'll be going back to our council to discuss how they want to spend the rest of that stimulus money. So we look forward to that discussion as well. With respect to this group, small business grants, I know every city is doing this. Our economic development department distributed about $2 million thus far, whether that was from the 2 supervisorial districts that were represented by. A third of our city in the southwest corner is represented by Supervisor Foley, and then the rest of the city is actually represented by Supervisor Chafee. So we received some money from them, and then the first round of COVID CDBG funding we allocated for small business grant relief. And then the third round of COVID money that we received from the federal government, we're offering some rental assistance for families in need, also some utility assistance for families in need. Both programs are still available and open for anybody who is in need. Just a couple of off the radar things that a couple of cities, couple of cities and councils in North Orange County have taken on is this premium pay for grocery workers, or the hero pay item. Our council actually did want to discuss that, and it went into effect on April 23rd, and it'll be in effect for 90 days until the end of July. Another item that our council wanted to tackle was the third-party delivery fees. You may have heard of these excessive fees from like the Grubhubs and DoorDashes of the world. Our council wanted to actually put a cap on those. So that was implemented back in March. And then just reopening of Buena Park. You know, everyone knows we're in the yellow tier now. Knott's has been open since May the 6th. For the pass holders, they really wanted to do something for the folks who had kind of hung in there with them. It opens to the entire public tomorrow. We expect some of our dinner houses to open in June next month. And then our TMD, or Tourism Marketing District, is really going to be ramping up in terms of driving that tourism back to the city. And then, you know, even despite the pandemic, we had some new businesses open. Some of these most of them are restaurants here. Gaucho Grill opened about a year ago. They're on the corner of Valley View and Orangethorpe. Our Grange Hall had a couple of restaurants open, and that's kind of a spinoff of what the Packing House is doing over in Anaheim. Broken Yoke is over at right across the street from Knott's entrance at La Palma and Beach. And then we're getting a new Chick-fil-A over off of the corner of Valley View and Orangethorpe. So thank you for the time. I'm happy to answer any questions after we hear from some of our other city managers. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. And I have to say too, I was on Beach Boulevard yesterday and could see driving towards City Hall, the Camp Snoopy bus going up and down from Beach. So pretty cool stuff. Glad to see that things are coming back around. So yep. Thank you. Next, I have the pleasure of introducing Conal McNamara, who is the city manager in the city of La Palma. He's also been with the city of Whittier and the city of Azusa, LA County Department of Public Works, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about his background. But Conal, I kind of have to laugh a little bit because you and I had a lunch on the books when you were new, and I think you're still kind of new, to give you an idea of what Conal's been through in the past 14 months or so. I think we probably were scheduled to do a meet and greet the second week of March of 2020.
Yes.
Yes, and we're still yet to do that. Yeah. But that'll give you an idea of just how great of a job Conal's done so far for La Palma. I think certainly you got off to a different start than you could have ever anticipated. But welcome. We're super excited to have you.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it. I mean, it's very interesting times, and I do look forward to that lunch when we finally get together. It's been strange. I don't have a PowerPoint today, nor do I have a tie. So I think you know, I'm a bit underdressed compared to Steve and Jarad and Aaron. So I do appreciate you guys outshining me and looking very good to my kind of homely outfit here. But and while Supervisor Foley, I believe, is still on the line, I just want to give a big thank you to her. It meant a lot for her to help us secure support from Congresswoman Sanchez to be one of her 10 projects that she put forward for the upcoming stimulus. It means a great deal to our city. So a big shout out to you and a big thank you for that. Just a real easy primer on La Palma. We're kind of a small city. As Aaron showed that slide of the new businesses coming in, I had a lot of envy, I confess. And I'm very jealous of those of the businesses he's able to bring in. We're doing our best to bring some in. But I think it's wonderful that we have that synergy with the city right next door on our border. That's really, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we really look at it that way here, and we're excited to be next door to such quality cities that we are. Like I said, we're small. We're about 2 square miles, maybe about 16,000 population. We're primarily residential, very much built out. We have small pockets of commercial. So all of these things lead to challenges that we face on the daily, and certainly the pandemic has hit us hard. We're running deficits projected annually The good news is the stimulus money we're receiving will probably carry us for 3 to 4 years and kind of zero out those deficits. The other good news is thanks to very prudent action by the council before I arrived, we have very strong reserves. We're probably sitting at 120% reserves, which is very, very strong. So there's really no fear or panic on the part of the council. We can really make methodical, good decisions about how we want to move forward. But revenue is definitely the name of the game. We get most of our revenue from property tax. Obviously, sales tax factors into that. We have a 1% transaction and use tax as well, as many cities do. That helps, but we're kind of waiting for the smoke to clear. And as things start to reopen, you know, now we're in yellow tier and we're told June 15th, there will be no more tiers. We hope to really see what the picture is going to be by November and try to understand where our sales tax really is so that we can make some decisions on a go forward basis. We're basically doing a zero change budget from what we had last year. The council's very comfortable with that. But again, we've been very prudent on our spending. So we're generally fairly tight, but it's just confusing. You know, one minute our sales tax is here and the next minute it's here, but it's definitely down from where it was. We had very conservative projections and we've, you know, even more conservative than HDL for those of you who might use HDL. And it's worked out to our advantage that we're able to be so conservative because it hasn't come in worse than what we thought it would be. But certainly dependent on businesses reopening, much like Aaron, but to a much smaller degree. TOT is a big deal for us, and our TOT is absolutely dependent on Knott's opening and Disney opening. So the quicker they can get open to full capacity, the better for us. And that's kind of in a nutshell where we are. We're an interesting community. We have a full service police department, which you don't see oftentimes in a city this small. We run very efficiently. It's not a large percentage of our general fund budget. So we're very fortunate that structurally we're set up in a way that we can kind of weather this storm. I just don't know, you know, if the storm is over or how bad the storm has really left us. And that's kind of the big challenge we're facing now as we take our budget next week, in the coming weeks, to City Council for adoption for the next fiscal year. You know, having said that, you know, we're excited about the future. We're excited about opening up, excited about where the economy appears to be going, very excited about the potential of receiving stimulus money to do the medians project in our city, which would be a very big deal to our residents. And so, you know, we're kind of cautiously optimistic about what 2021 and 2022 holds for us. And, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I really appreciate the chamber opening this up to us. I think it's a great idea, and it's great being with you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Conal. And I agree with Emily, you know, diving in, and it's kind of the sink or swim, and clearly swimming and having a great handle on it. So thanks for sharing that. Last but not least, I'll introduce our fourth panelist, and just continuing with the list of rock stars holding the fort down in our cities of North Orange County. It's my pleasure to introduce Jarad, Hildenbrand, the city manager for the city of Stanton. Jarad, just a little bit of way of introduction. Jarad has actually been city manager in Stanton for a few years, since 2019, but he brings with him experience managing cities, both in Buena Park as well as La Habra Heights. Jarad has a bachelor's degree from Cal State Fullerton, go Titans, and a master's degree from Long Beach, go Beach. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Jarad, also doing fantastic work in Stanton. Really enjoy working with him and looking forward to hearing more from him. Jarad, the floor is yours.
Jessica, thank you very much for the fine introduction. Thank you to the chambers, to the sponsors. Thank you again. Thank you everyone for being here. Supervisor Foley, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. We love the District 2 update. Again, thanks for coming out to Stanton the other day and touring our work we're doing with the county, Jamboree on the hotel conversion projects. And thanks to my colleagues for being here. Like the colleagues, we're working on reopening, budget adoption, some exciting stuff here. We're launching a new city website in the next month or so. We got a lot of team building happening as our employees and our folks return to work, return to the office full time. You know, there's a green light for cannabis in Stanton. We should be opening up some new retail shops, hopefully in the next few months, certainly by the end of the year. Council has recently embarked on a new 5-year strategic plan update. Like my other cities and colleagues, we're developing a sort of multi-year plan to effectively and efficiently utilize the city share of the ARPA funding. Ongoing management of our homeless population is certainly challenging for us. We're embarking on an energy audit of all city facilities. We have a lot of long-range planning items in the queue. We're working on a Beach Boulevard master plan, like everyone else. Again, a housing authority update for the 6th cycle, working on a town center specific plan. And something near and dear to my heart is I want to do a better job of telling Stanton's story, right? What I want to do right now, for those of you who haven't taken a drive down Beach Boulevard lately, is just show you all of the exciting projects that are happening. So let me open up my PowerPoint here, and we'll start. One slide back. So right here's our 3 square miles. You can see Beach Boulevard really dissects the city. Projects in blue are current projects in plan check. The yellow star, orange star are projects under construction, and then you can see a couple green stars out there that are pending applications. So there is just a lot of work and development, both residential as well as commercial, citywide. Something that we're pretty proud of is the Rodeo 39 public market. If you haven't been there yet, it is phenomenal. A little tough for them, right? Opening during the pandemic. This is new as of, you know, the end of 2019, early in 2020, but it brought to the city 27 new businesses, including Raising Cane's and an In-N-Out, which is much needed sales tax for the community. We're excited to reopen here to really see what the full potential of the Rodeo 39 public market will do for us. So if you want to come to Stanton, I'm happy to treat you to lunch, and we can spend our money and eat and drink here. Development-wise, KB Homes is working on 40 detached condominiums. This is over on the western side of the city, 10840 or 10871 Western. About 40 projects, 40 detached condos with this project. They're working on entitling another 36. Something we're pretty proud of is currently under construction along Beach Boulevard, catty corner to where Rodeo 39 was, is what's called the Verve. Folks will call it VRV, but we'll take the vowels out of it. So the Verve is a 300-unit mixed-use, amenitized apartment complex. Bonani Development out of Huntington is entitling this, and it's a wrap project. So if you've driven by Beach, what you'll notice right now is the block parking structure currently being erected. Just up the street from the Verve is another development by Bonani, Cloud House. Cloud House is about 321 units. It'll be a very special project. Right where you see Cloud House in the rendering, just beyond that is a rooftop deck and sort of auditorium style seating. So we'll get fine views of the fireworks coming from either Disneyland or Angel Stadium. So it should both of these projects will clean up a lot of just vacant, underutilized property in the city right now, and we think they'll be pretty special. About to break ground here on this one soon. Give it a couple years for construction, but it will certainly change the landscape of Beach Boulevard. Small but mighty, Habitat for Humanity is building 6 affordable condominiums. Broke ground on this one already, so we're hoping to be open here in the near future. On the affordable housing front, we're working in our Tina Pacific neighborhood. This is about 10 acres in total, something that the city has been working on since 2009. But with all of the unprecedented funding coming out of Sacramento, affordable housing, veterans, homeless type funding, we should be able to make something work here. There's a couple plans in place. One will have a 100 affordable units. One plan shows 161 affordable units. So this is still in the design concept. We certainly need help with funding it. There's a big gap in order to complete the remaining acquisition and relocation of the tenants, but it will certainly help to redevelop the neighborhood. And then cannabis, as I alluded to, we have the green light for cannabis. Council's looking at retail stores, delivery, manufacturing, distribution, nurseries, etc. Over the last few months, we have probably a year now completed a robust application and screening process. That aspect has been completed. So we are currently working with HDL in their cannabis compliance division to conduct background checks of our top candidates. So council selected 4 in each category under background now, hoping that will be done in the next couple months. So by the end of the year, facilities will be secured and we shall be open for business. Again, lots happening on the development side of things in Stanton. That's my quick introduction, and I'm looking forward to diving into the conversation further. Thanks again. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Jarad. There's clearly a lot going on in Stanton, and it looks really, really good. Same thing. If you drive on Beach Boulevard, you can see the changes, and they all look great. So we're going to move now into a Q&A portion. So we invite the audience to put any questions they may have for our panelists into the Q&A chat, and Jessica and I will do our best to get to those. I do want to kind of open it up as we go into our Q&A to thank the 4 of you again. Jessica said it so eloquently that we really are lucky to have the 4 of you. And Conal, I think you touched on a core value of the chamber, which is that business has no boundaries. And I think the same thing happens for the cities as well. We're really passionate about that. And it seems as though you all have truly embraced that if something is good for one city, it's probably good for all of you. So we really appreciate what you're doing to support the business community and work together to do so. So Jessica, if you want to take the first question.
Absolutely. Thank you, Emily. Thanks for setting that up. So we'll get started with a couple of softballs here, hopefully. So first question for you all is, let's talk about kind of what's the immediate future. What are the priorities that your cities are focused on in the next 4 months?
No, thank you, Jessica. I guess I can start here in Stanton. Right, priorities are accomplishing everything that I just alluded to. I mean, we certainly have a lot going on. We operate pretty lean. Many of our staff members wear multiple hats. So, there's a lot going on. Each project requires, just an unprecedented amount of focus. So we're really doing less with more and learning how to do that, right? As we reopen, revenues will continue to grow. Hopefully we'll have our resources back. But for us, again, right, trying to get a balanced budget adopted by July 1st. Cannabis open, that will certainly help and bring in much needed revenue to the city as well as a number of our commercial and affordable housing projects. So we just have tremendous amount of work going on right now. And it's kudos to our city council. It is kudos to the fine staff that keeps Stanton running on a day-to-day basis.
Perfect. Thanks, Jarad. So next question, besides, of course, I just stated that we're so lucky to have all 4 of you, and you 4 have a lot in common. You're all very smart. You're all great leaders. Another thing that you all seem to have in common is that you have deep roots in local government, but you're all relatively new or new-ish to this city manager role. So kind of watching it from the outside in and now being on the inside, what surprised you?
Well, I'll jump in for that one. Unless Aaron, you want to take it?
Go ahead, Conal.
I thought about this a little bit. I'll tell you what really surprised me the most was how calm our city council was during this period, and really our residents as well. And I think that says a lot about, this community. I had really no idea what I was going to get into. My start date was April 1st, and I picked it kind of as a joke because I thought it'd be funny to start on April Fool's Day. And it was, kind of the joke was on me because COVID just grew and grew and grew. And we, none of us knew back in March how bad it was ultimately going to get. And the, the whipsaw we'd be on for half the time. But, through it all, we really had a very stable council, very stable community, no protests, people really following the rules, understanding where things were going, even when it meant they couldn't shop or eat at the places they wanted to shop or eat. So for me, I was really struck by how maturely and how calmly our city council handled, a really crisis situation. And I think, again, that's because, we are in a pretty decent shape in terms of having reserves, and we don't need to panic. And I think that's just really shined through. But the quality of the council is really what kind of made a big impression on me my first 6 months on the job.
That's a great answer. That's a very, very thoughtful answer. Aaron and Steve, I think you both wanted to. Aaron, why don't we go to you first?
No, I was just going to add to what Conal had mentioned. I'm a new city manager, and I'll be the first to say this is a tough time to cut your teeth as a city manager. You're in a once in a century pandemic, and all of us are trying to navigate this. Thank God for the kind of the collaboration and the relationships that we have with our city managers at the north end of the county. We meet regularly to talk about things, and honestly, without the support of some of the others on here, it can be a challenge without a doubt.
Yeah, I can imagine for sure. Steve.
Yeah, I was surprised at particularly because of the budget situation, the number and the breadth of challenges that are in the city. It doesn't matter what area you're looking at. There's something that we can do better. There's something that we can fix. And so to wrap your arms around all of that. And then I was also impressed with the employees banding together. We have a number of vacancies, but their ability to keep things moving along is a big deal. It's amazing to me that we can be down that many positions and people are still doing things that are moving the city along. So just as was said before, we get past these financial struggles and we get a little bit more money, and we can start maybe moving forward and maybe get to the point where we can provide more of a service. Instead of being 100%, maybe it's 75% now, and maybe we can bump that back up. We can make some dents. So right now we're getting our arms around it, turning the ship, and the city is like a big ship. You turn it to the direction you want it to go, and hopefully you'll start making those baby steps and it'll move forward.
Great, thank you all. Let's tap a little bit more into what Aaron was sharing with us for our next question. Aaron, you spoke a little bit about going through this once in a century situation. One of the key factors in moving through that is the relationship with the regional city managers. So can you all talk about or provide an example of the collaboration among you all in the region?
Unmuting here. Thank you, Jessica. And Aaron's probably best to talk about this. But I mean, as he indicated, we do meet monthly. We do talk. We do, call each other and treat each other as sounding boards almost. But I think one of, if not probably the most, recognizable projects amongst collaboration is the North Spas, right? The North Orange County, the service planning areas partnership on the navigation centers. One's in Buena Park, one is in Placentia. 13 cities are partnership to this agreement where, right, homeless is a top issue, top 3, top 4 issue for each and every one of us county-wide. So we really banded together and treated it as a regional problem. And again, kudos to Buena Park, kudos to Placentia and their respective city councils, right, for raising their hands and stepping up to the plate and building these 2 new navigation centers.
Yeah, and if I could just piggyback on what Jarad had to say there. Yeah, the North Spa is a big one. We have a group that's been meeting, North Orange County Cities Coalition, for probably 10 years we've been meeting, and it's that sounding board that Jarad had mentioned. You know, beyond the North Spa, and the homelessness is the biggest, you know, reason that we get together and talk about, you know, the MOU and the shelter situation. You know, Fullerton and Steve over there in Fullerton and our two chiefs have been talking about this this HOPE program. It's an outreach and prevention program where we're actually going to be utilizing some city staff to go out and engage the homelessness issue. We've been kind of leaning on CityNet, who's one of our contractors for, you know, the last several years, but you know, that's just another way that we're collaborating, Fullerton and Buena Park. And then we have the North Orange County Public Safety Task Force that, you know, there's several cities up north that get together. I think there's like maybe 12 or 15 cities up north that get together. The police chiefs meet regularly and talk about you know, ways to combat homelessness and help some of our community-based groups. And so there's just so much engagement up here at the North End.
Thanks, Aaron. It's kind of neat to get a little bit of an inside look on the collaboration and partnerships that you all have that we probably don't know about and don't even realize are happening. So we appreciate it. The next question is around vaccinations. If there's anything that you want to share about any efforts that your city's doing to get your residents vaccinated, we'd love to hear about it. The supervisor, I think, touched on it pretty well, but if there's anything else you all would like to share about your efforts, we'd love to hear them and spread the good word.
We had a fortunate situation. We have St. Jude Hospital, so they've been a nice focal point for us to do that. And then we've also, the county has provided a number of mobile vaccination points for hard to serve areas. So we've been real fortunate with those two things, and we've been able to do a lot.
Yeah, for Stanton, right? We've had a number of mobile vaccination clinics here as well at City Hall and our community center. I want to say we vaccinated approximately 1,500 of Stanton's vulnerable population, right? These are harder to reach residents. Maybe they're seniors with no internet access or residents with language barriers. Our park and rec staff, right? We've had to repurpose them since fields and programs have been closed. So they went out into the community, right? They went out to our senior apartment complexes and our mobile homes and knocked on doors and sat in the lobbies with tablets in order to, you know, register folks for these clinics. So with the help of our rec leaders all the way up to the county supporting these vaccination clinics, we've seen about 1,500 of Stanton's vulnerable population vaccinated. It's just been an incredible response.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I'm going to take a quick pause and remind the audience if there are any questions that you'd like to ask yourself that you'd like us to bring us up, please just drop them in the chat and Emily and I will pick those up. So feel free. Moving on, well, you know, I was touching a little bit about that. Certainly in the last few months, it's been the focus of the vaccination rollout and doing that. If we, you know, go back a little bit more on just the COVID-19 response in general, if there was maybe a success story or a particular program that you know, your cities were able to implement and carry out, and if you could share a little bit about that with us.
We've had a pretty good outdoor dining program we've been able to set up in downtown Fullerton. It's a pretty popular place. And so because of that, we've been able to have alleyways in some other areas where we've been able to expand. And really, it's been good for the residents and for the businesses, because some of those businesses would not have been able to survive had they not been able to move into those areas. So that's been one of our very, very critical and good success stories.
As a Fullerton resident, I can attest to that. Great job with Walk on Wilshire. Just, you know, such a bright moment in going through this last year. So kudos to the city and everyone involved.
Good, thank you. So kind of along that same theme, particularly with your city councils and your city programs and parks and rec and all the wonderful things that you used to do, what do you think is your city and or your council looking forward to most when it comes to reopening? What are some of your signature events that you're going to perhaps bring back online? Are they going to be the same? Are they going to look a little different? Yeah, we're all just really excited for what might be next.
Well, that's one where I think all of us are going to probably say the same thing. You know, those community events, concerts in the park, movies in the park, just not having to wear a mask. I think having our restaurants and businesses open again to the degree they were before, allowing people to come into our city council chambers. I think that's going to be, you know, the common denominator. I think what's resonating in my mind is, will people want to come out? You know, just the fact that we're going to go off this color tier in a month or less. Are you going to feel comfortable going to a park with 1,000 strangers? You know, and that's the part that's very difficult for me to try to gauge as we try to forecast what kind of, you know, park and rec program should we be opening at our central park, and how should we be thinking about, you know, concerts or movies or, you know, any of the other large scale events we do, 4th of July runs and whatnot, barbecues. You know, these are the things, even at a smaller scale, employee recognition programs. You know, how do we handle that? You know, can I get every employee into a room? Are people going to feel okay with that in the end? So, you know, I do think the council and the community and the staff are really looking forward to getting back to where we were before March of 2019. But the wild card is going to be how quick will the public take to it? And, you know, the media frenzy seems to be a little bit reduced right now, which is great. We no longer have a problem getting vaccines in people's arms if they want them. I think the challenge is we don't have enough people that appear to want them, and we've kind of hit that plateau, and that's a big challenge, I think, for the health agency and others. But you know, we're hopeful that we can get back to that in the near term, and I think that's probably shared by my compadres as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, absolutely, our community services events, as Conal had mentioned, Silverado Days, our community festival, was canceled last year, so we're hoping to bring that back this October. And then, you know, just as important for us is bringing our Beach Boulevard corridor back to life, because without knots and without, you know, pirates in medieval times and, you know, some of the other attractions on the boulevard, it's you know, been difficult for our city. So.
Absolutely. Looking forward to all of that. Thank you. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit here and talk a little bit about the city and the consistency or not of the city. So let me pose this question for you all. City council members, we know, are elected every 2 years, which means that staff is the only one thing constant, right? And must learn to adapt into that change. So maybe you guys can share a little bit about your experiences with those changing dynamics and directions, given the shifts in makeup of your city council.
I think for Fullerton, one of the things is we have some new council members, and that's resulted in some differences of opinions on how to go about things that weren't as consistent. So staff has had to, you know, going from one consistent direction to taking into consideration the wants and needs of other council members. And then, you know, when there are differences of opinion, how do we iron those out? How do we present good recommendations? How do we follow through with that and be responsive to all of them when they might have different ideas on what they want to do? So we've had to be more nimble and more receptive and responsive to council members where it was easier in the past.
No, it's right. It's tough. Every couple of years, the potential for council disruption or makeup changes, right? But I think if it happens, you just have to focus back on the core fundamental government services, right? Public safety isn't going to change. Operating the front counter, building permits aren't going to change. Being responsive to our businesses and our general community isn't going to change. While, right, the 10,000, 30,000 square foot level policy directions may or may not change. We go back to the basics, right? The KISS method. We keep it simple. We operate our core fundamental, you know, public services well, and you know, we'll survive. We adapt.
Thank you. Aaron, did you want to?
You know, I would just say for Buena Park, the city was incorporated in 1953, and we've had a very conservative council since that time. But I think you're seeing that change a bit here in Buena Park over the last few years. 3 of our 5 have been on council for 3 years or less, and you're seeing that political makeup change a bit. So you're seeing our council be a little more progressive, as demonstrated by the hero pay and the cap on delivery fees. So it is a change for us, but I think we've embraced it well, and we're just kind of rolling with.
Perfect, thank you. Well, I think we'll do one last question since we're just about at time. And so of course, since we're the chamber, we're gonna end it on a business question. So if there's anything that you would like to share, I know Steve already mentioned Walk on Wiltshire, which I will third, it was awesome. Anything you want to share about what your city's currently doing to support business? So small business in particular, I think that, I don't know about everybody else, but I've really, during the pandemic, learned to embrace shop local more than ever before. So in particular, anything you're doing to embrace shop local, small business, business in general, we'd love to hear about it. And of course, always partner with you to help promote those programs.
Well, I'll jump in on that. We we obviously started a shop local campaign immediately, and this involved actually we have a business engagement ad hoc committee, which is the mayor and the mayor pro tem, actually visiting businesses, filming them, using our social media to kind of market that as much as we can, reaching out to all the businesses that we could and saying, do you want us to come out and film for you? And just talking to the people, finding out, how they're doing, how this has been going for them, letting folks know that they're still open, please patronize them. I mean, that's certainly one way, allowing to every degree we could, outdoor dining and other, workarounds that our businesses needed to utilize to be able to survive, to be candid. That's been, I think, very important to us. We did receive about $400,000 from 2nd District Board of Supervisors in terms of small business grants. We doled that out to a number of businesses, but the last $50,000 grant, what I talked to the council about doing in their direction was, instead of giving it to the individual businesses, why don't we target commercial centers that we can actually use the money to enhance them to promote outdoor dining? So we actually have a dirt area that's been fenced off in one of our commercial centers for years and years. And it looks like they're going to be submitting a proposal to actually pave that in, open it up, put in umbrellas, tables, chairs, lighting, make that an open and available space where we can have, the folks that are buying food in that shopping center come and dine in a bit of an outdoor setting. So, anything that we can do to work with the business community as we kind of come back to life, so to speak, we're certainly very keen on that. And we're a very, very pro-business council and a very understanding council. So, I feel very lucky that I'm in a community where that's really very important to them.
One of the things we've been able to help out too with the small business emergency loan program, where we've helped people with their applications and helped them get loans that they've needed. And that's helped a lot of businesses as well.
It's certainly clear that each of the cities that we represent, Buena Park, Palma, Stanton, Fullerton, have been very creative. And it's great to have Supervisors Foley join us today to share her ideas. Certainly the collaboration that you share, as Emily expressed, is one that the Chamber really believes deeply in, that we are all stronger together. We look forward to celebrating businesses as they open, as we get the downtown businesses in each of the cities reopened, as we get Beach Boulevard reactivated. We really look forward to celebrating moving forward with each of you. Please make sure that you connect with your Chamber of Commerce, as we are here to support you and the efforts your cities are each taking on to make sure that we properly open and we can really celebrate a great rest of the 2021 and a wonderful 2022. So with that, I thank each of you for your participation today. It was really great to have you on board. Thank you, Emily and the gas company, Jessica and Edison rather. We really appreciate your participation, and you can replay this and share it with your friends as we post it to YouTube on the Chamber's channel next week. Thank you so much, and thank you all of you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.